Hello everybody, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and I thought of doing a quick and easy tutorial on Christmassy abalone type mokumegane. And what I did, I'm not entirely sure if you can see it properly. Let me see. This is the green primo, and what I did, I mixed some gold. This is actually Aztec gold. Doesn't matter which gold, but gold pearlex in it. And this is some pomegranate, and I also mixed some gold mica in it. And this is a half and half regular gold with white pearl and with some extra gold mica in it. If you want to make it more mica-ish, but I wouldn't advise to go too far because it will kind of cover the color, you can add about half the size of the color that you want translucent, and then you can add a little bit more mica powder. But we are going to do something that's really easy and really easy to make and very nice. And what I also have here is black liquid clay. If you do not have black liquid clay, you can just get some black clay with a lot of softener and just mix it until it starts getting, remember I showed you in other tutorials, you can actually make filaments out of it, and then gently mix it in regular liquid clay if you don't have colored liquid clay. Alright, so what we are going to do is, these sizes are very misleading because the gold will be actually just half of what the other ones are. So I'm going to go with a let me see, a 4 on a Makins machine, and that would be like a 5. No, that would be like a 3 on a regular machine. Piece of this because it's going to be, and as I said, the gold is going to be only about half the size, so that's almost kind of sorta. Because I want to make it pretty much squarish. Okay, so the gold will be on a 7. And this should be, no, I need to make it a little bit wider. So you get you get gold between both. Actually, I need a little bit more gold. I didn't realize. Between both the red and the green. Give me just a second. And there we go. Maybe even more. Alrighty, so my red is a little bit bigger than my green, so it's actually not so much in width as it is in length. Okay, so I'm going to have the gold and I'm going to place the red on it. And then I got the green that I'm going to place on the other part of the gold. And then place it on top. And you see that when you're excuse me. Hi Debbie, I hope I said hi, Kalyana. And then you cut it, and you can see that when you're placing it one on top of the other, the gold will come on top of the green. And we don't want to make too many distortions, and as you can see, it is a little bit thick, so I want to go thin it out a little bit. And remember, you always have to flip because the sheet on top is going to get more widened up than the sheet on the bottom. Okay. Yeah, that was a Finnegan here, that was not a mica shift line. All right, and then I'm going to do it one more time, and this time I can see it's still a tad too thick. Not a lot, a tad. Oh God, my cats are having the zoomies. I hope that they don't start fighting. My poor Finnegan, he really misses his big brother, because Connor was playing with him. Seamus is more lazy. They were about the same age, about a month difference between them. But Seamus is way lazier than Connor was. Connor still had the zoomies, and he was practically trying to climb the door frames when he had the zoomies. Seamus, no, and Finnegan is trying to entice him. Okay, we should be good at this point. Finnegan is trying to entice him, and Seamus gets upset, so they might start fighting. Anyway, so here we go, and I'm going to do that one more time without making them thinner, just so that I have more. Actually, they might get a little bit thinner, but just by manipulating. And once again, we do not want a lot of deformation. And you can use whatever you find that is accessible to you. Like, for example, I might want to use this. You can use a knuckle. My knuckles hurt, so just make sure that you do it on both sides. And then I'm going to always use the blunt part of the cutter, because the idea is to cause a lot of deformation. If you have any questions about what kind of clay, if you don't want to work with Primo, and what kind of clay you should work with, I have I would think very informative video that is called Which Clay Should I Pick? And you can search that on my channel. That explains the differences of using various types of clay for various types of techniques. And I'm saying there that for mokumegane you need a clay that is soft, because the deformation will be different depending on the type of clay used. And the best clays for this are Primo and Soufflé. Of course, Soufflé you cannot put mica powder in because it's got absolutely no translucency, and for mica powder you need a little bit of translucency. As you can see, I'm using you guys cut it out. Alright, so this should be enough pretty much. And now I'm going to get it back in shape, so I don't have any empty spaces. And there will be even more deformation added as I'm doing this. Alright, so almost there. And you want a base, ideally made out of scrap clay. Let me see if I have any scrap clay here. If I don't, I can make some. I can always make some. That is the one that I did not prepare. Yeah, I am quite upset because, as I told you, my doctor has increased my Ozempic dose, but she wanted first to try, because I first went to 0.25, then to 0.5, and then she first wanted to try and see if I can get a 0.75. But the problem is that they don't make Ozempic pens for that. They only make them for, it's one type of pen that goes for 0.25 and 0.5, and then the next size up is 1.0. And of course, the insurance refused to cover 2 pens of the same thing in 1 month, so she was supposed to send a new prescription to the pharmacy for the 1.0, and I had my appointment on the 13th of November. She still didn't send it. So you can see I'm kind of miffed on that. And of course I did the boo-boo. I was supposed to put the black clay. Anyway, black liquid clay. Anyway, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna still be pretty. Never mind. Not so much stuff going on that I am... Okay, I wanted my... And that I am... My mind is not where it's supposed to be. Hi, Colleen. But we'll see how this comes out. should still be alright even without black. And if you notice, I am doing it a little bit thicker. I'm cutting a little bit thicker because I am going to thin it out. And it is the whole idea of adding extra mica particles. Alrighty, so this should do it. And I'm going to go like this, and then I will put it through the pasta machine and start with the thickest setting possible. Make sure that they are well, the edges are well connecting, and we are going to start with the thickest setting possible and then go thinner and thinner, but each time rotate the sheet 90 degrees. Should be okay. All right, and I'll do just the gold with the black, because that's another combination that's always pretty. So let's go ahead and do this just to have it ready, because with the liquid clay you need to wait a little bit. This is the thick one. Sometimes you get a squirt of very thin clay coming out the first time you squeeze the bottle, and I probably did not shake it enough. Let's see if now it's better. Yeah, it's a little bit better. There was still a squirt of thinner one. And it will have time to get glued together while I'm doing the rest. Here we go. And put this on top here, and then we'll let it sit while I'm doing other stuff. Because there's another thing that we are going to do with this. And you want to go for things that are a little bit more unusually shaped, like, let me grab this So let's say I'm going with this shape, and I'm going to place it here. And give it a cut. But then what I want from it, I want the itty bitty cutters. I want a round somewhere. And of course, I'm not making two because this is just to give you an idea. I want some rounds here. And I'm going to place one here. And this is the one that's broken, I think. One here. Oops. And a small one here. I know it's going to be a pain when you put the resin on top of it, but it's going to be okay. Okay, so oh, come on. I'm trying to not have to use my eyeglasses. I'm gonna still have to use my eyeglasses, but this is just to show you how the effect looks like. So let's grab a little bit of resin. You know, I tossed one on the floor before we started. Today is my weekly removal of all the stuff that I drop under the under the table. Because it's quite painful for me to get on all four and go hunting under the table. So I try to do that once a week only. Okay, and as I said, it might look like a little pain to go around these holes, but I can assure you it's not that difficult. Okay, just a pinch more. So what did you all do for Thanksgiving? Anything unusually delicious? As I usually don't like turkey, so I get for myself just plain chicken. So and I'm also not a cranberry sauce person either. But one thing I miss is the candied yams. I cannot have them anymore. So, bummer. I used to love the candied yams. And rhubarb pie. I always made rhubarb pie on top of the regular pumpkin pie or pecan pie. I love rhubarb. I even grew it in my backyard when I still had the cottage garden. I was growing rhubarb. Ouch. Okay, let's get this too. Alright, now let's see if this is still very... Yeah, it still is very... sliding. Hi Elaine, glad you made it. I'm just gently pressing. Wipe the stuff on the edges. Yeah, I did use too much. I think I just got overly... I had a panic attack when I saw that I forgot to put it on the on the green and the red. Oh well. We can do another one with green and red, just plain green and red and black. That would be fine. I'm making a mess on my fingers, on the table, on everything. Yeah, I spent the last 2 days between being exhausted and trying to get the house ready, because I don't know how it is where you are, but here in Oklahoma we are having a cold, fairly cold snap. And when I say fairly cold, I'm talking about last night the low was 24 and today the high is 37, and then it's going to go even lower Monday evening. It's going to be 21 by what I understood. So okay, I'm making a mess here. Let me get this one more time. There we go. I shouldn't have put that much. Oh well. It's going to be interesting because it's going to draw down the black clay into the... Let's see what we get. Anyway, so as I was saying, I did... And after that, after this week, it's not entirely certain if we are going to go back to normal temperatures for this time of year or not yet. So again, I made sure that I had all the laundry done. My problem with the laundry is not so much about the pipes freezing, I mean the water pipe. It's more about the... I have a laundry room, okay, that is an addition to the house, and the drain is on the outside wall, and that addition is not brick like the rest of the house. It is the regular kind of stuff that's, you know, that particle board covered with white vinyl siding on the outside and drywall on the inside, and that is where my drain goes. And even if the pipes might not freeze because the pipes come from under the floor, the drain would. And if I try to do laundry, that means that the washer will not drain and all the water will back up on my laundry room floor. So there's the reason I gathered everything that might need washing for the next 2 weeks. And then I also did a lot of deep cleaning, because when it's cold like this, what I have to do is I put a blanket in the door. Because you've heard me talking about this before. In this area we can get some really deep cold snaps. I mean, I remember that back in I think it was 2019 we got down to minus 19. So what I do, I have a special blanket that I bought from Goodwill that I made 2 little crocheted eyelets, 2 on one end, And then I have two hooks on top of the door frame, and I just put that blanket over the entrance door because that helps with keeping the house warm. I mean, it stops most of the cold, but it can get so cold that you can actually, and seeing that I have a double brick house, it gets, when you get your hand near the door, near the wall, about 4 inches, you can feel how cold the wall is. Okay, I dropped a cutter down. I'm just making myself sure that I will have stuff to do under the table. Alrighty, so I'm going to give it the sonic lines perspective, and I think that that's all I'm going to give it, because once again it's too much black goo. I'm also almost feeling like I'm trying to bring clay out of a tar pit. Alright, so let's get it nicely back together. And I'm going to use a, I know I had one here, and it just went ahead and hid from me. There we go. I'm going to place this directly on the mirror. Back to my little blade. So yeah, that's what my last 3 days went through, because I had to, as you know, I'm getting worse and worse, so I need more and more time to recover when I'm doing stuff. So let's say I have to vacuum the bedroom, the bedroom, a room, and I do one pass on half of it, and then I have to rest for an hour and a half. Okay, so this will be it. And as you can see, you can do a moku megane just with plain mica shift. Hi Wanda, yeah, I'm doing relatively well. It's just very cold here. So as I was saying, I tried to do a lot of cleaning, so there would be no reason for me to open the front door to get trash out or anything. Alrighty, so let's first burnish it a little bit, because we want it nicely burnished. What I would do with this kind of stuff, I would bake it and then I would sand it and buff it. But you can absolutely resin it without question. And yes, I am going to put it through the machine. I just placed it here because it was more convenient. Stay up, don't faint on me. And then we also have obviously issues with the barometric pressure, so that is not very pleasant to deal with either. So here we go. I promise you it will look fabulous. So let me use this for now. And I'm going to consider it like this being the top. And again, the thing with the hole. Only that this time I'm going to use a regular round cutting hole. This one, yeah, maybe a little higher. There we go. And then we are going to resin it. And oh yeah, and I also had to go and outside and cover my roses, because that's another thing. And by the way, because I had people asking me what I use to cover the roses. You know that chicken wire that's like a small netting made out of wire? Yeah, I got that from the home improvement store, and I cut it to put in to create like cylinders around the. Of course, I cut the roses down. That doesn't work on what do you call it, knockout roses, because those you cannot cut them down too much. But the regular roses, it's a good thing to cut them to about a foot, and then create this cylinder around them, and then fill the cylinder with dry leaves. Why you do that cylinder? Because if you put just dry leaves, they will get scattered by any wind that you might have during the winter. But if you put that cylinder around them, so make the whole thing to be away from the rose bush by about anywhere between 7 and 10 inches, and that will hold the dry leaves in place. And also over winter, the dry leaves will start composting, and you're gonna get a nice compost for your roses. Alrighty. Now let me pick that one up and get this one in. There we go. Okay, now as usual, I'm gonna have to change the light. And change the focus. Actually, not the focus, just the distance. Let's try the other one. Okay. So see, by having some mica on the red and the green, that adds to the effect. And again, I apologize, I was supposed to use the black clay on this, and I did not. So here I made a boo-boo, a big boo-boo. I'll probably get another. Let's try this now. I'll do another short something about this. Okay, if you can see it better this way. Just remember that you need, and if you use the clay, you have to use it only on 2 of those, only between the gold and red, and between the gold and green. Do not use it when you start stacking, because that's not going to look good. Okay, waiting on the other one to get done. There we go. Let me get it closer. Yeah, as you can see it adds an extra dimension to the so-called mica shift, because you have, remember, the same as it did here, those lines from the cutter, this is the mica shift. This here, the darker gold, is the mica shift. But then you have these two little black lines that add even more dimension. So whenever you see a darker gold, that is the mica shift that came from deformation. And this is because of that we get different hues of gold in the whole thing. And you can do the same thing with by making a red, if you have any kind of red or copper mica powder. Remember I told you that you can do whatever color of translucent you want, and that way you can create your own personal touch by simply mixing mica powder to translucent clay. You can make your own pearlescent or metallic. And if you have any red or copper mica powder, you can make this with red, you can make this with green as well. And if you have any of the duos, you know that there are a few duos in the Pearlex, that will make absolutely fabulous effects. So I hope you like this, even with my boo-boo. And hold on. There we go. And I hope you will try it yourself. And that's it. Hopefully I will not lose power, and I'll be all good and nice and be able to do things this week, because I shouldn't have to work for anything anymore. I got food, I got everything all insulated, so I should be good to just work and do my stuff. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I love you. Thank you for being here with me, and I shall see you next Sunday. Thank you. Bye.